Hey guys, it's Ken Scott, Senior, U.S. Immigration Law Intelligence Analyst with www.usentryWaiverServices.com. And again, want to get you guys cleared to enter the USA. I tell you what, guys, I'm starting to think that I'm becoming a parrot because I keep saying the same thing over and over about certain things. I have no idea. Well, then again, I do know. I shouldn't say that. But I want to say I have no idea why they keep pushing this news story in the media about these departure control checkpoints, these outbound immigration checkpoints at the U.S. border. You know how you're leaving the USA right before you get to the Canadian side. There's a checkpoint there before you enter Canada. For the umpteenth time, that's called departure control. Departure control has been around since the 1990s and prior. Departure control is nothing new. Let me say that one more time. Departure control is nothing new. And the reason why I'm saying that to you guys is I need to get into today's story. I got this stuff written down here. So let me just get to where I need to get. Okay, I have to go back here. And here it is. Okay. The news story and today's video is going to be titled BC resident searched at additional border checkpoint says it was quote unquote very strange. BC resident searched at additional border. He's talking about Aldergrove, Linden. That checkpoint says it was very strange. Guys, there's nothing strange about it. It's departure control. Departure control, when it's done at the truck crossing border, that border is still in U.S. territory, but it's designed geographically, it's differently than the Aldergrove border. So that part, yeah, is different, geographical features. But other than that, it's the same bloody thing. And he says it's strange. There's nothing strange about departure control. They're searching outbound traffic. And because the media keeps pushing this topic and other individuals keep pushing this, I'm going to make it my life's work to keep pushing back and let you guys know the real story, the real truth. The real truth is this is BS. Departure control is nothing new. It's the media trying to fill the story, and other certain individuals, I guess, I have no clue why he's doing it. Maybe he's just, I don't know what he's doing. But the point is, sorry guys, I gotta put you on pause for a moment here. I can help you. Yes. All right, guys. Sorry about that. The call took a little bit of time. And guys, in all honesty, this always happens to us, or quite often, is this phone rings off the hook. Well, it rings off the hook anyway, but it rings right in the middle of during these YouTube videos because there's a lot of people out there that need help. And a lot of people really depend upon us for like accurate information, exceptional service, and they know I'm a down to earth guy. I'm all about no bullshit, straight up, straight shooter. I don't sugarcoat stuff because my thought is, you guys pay for a service and you guys are entitled to receive the best of the service that you pay for. So let's get back into this video. It was titled BC residents searched an additional border checkpoint says it was very strange. And like I said before, there's nothing strange about it at all. So let's do a screen share here and get right into it. Okay. All right. You know what? I got to do something here for a moment. I got to do another pause for a second. Yeah, I'm back again. Sorry about that. All right. So guys, this is the story right here. But the BC resident searched at the border crossing said it was very strange. I'll send you guys a link to this story. But this gentleman, His name is David Steinbach from Langley. He's returning to BC in April after going down to Linden to buy some gas. Although I'm used to saying petrol, but to buy some gas. He said, I'll still go down there every week to go get gas. Okay. I have Nexus, so it's very easy and fast for me to go down. All right, whatever. I mean, good for him and good for people that have Nexus. At 9:30 a.m., we got there 120, 150 to 100 to 200 meters before the Canadian border. There are 6 or 7 U.S. Border Patrol officers to stop not only his vehicle, but all the vehicles. Okay. And he started looking through my car and putting down the seats, looking in the back, in the trunk, glove box, etc., etc. He says the whole thing was very strange. Okay. I don't know where they were, what they were looking for. Didn't seem natural. It's never happened before. Okay, guys, so you guys probably thinking, okay, so what are you getting at? Well, what I'm getting at is this is departure control. Now, mind you, the ones I went through with the truck crossing border. So I never went through departure control at Peace Arch or the Linden border. In my case, not saying they didn't occur at those locations. I'm just saying in my case. Another thing you guys need to be aware of and be cognizant of the fact that it's not all necessarily about the individual, like you guys as the individual. Each case is different. Each circumstance is different. He probably never went through departure control at Linden. I never did either, but doesn't mean it doesn't exist there or even the Sumas border. So just because he haven't went through it, he can't, you know, there shouldn't really, there should not be any implication here that the stuff is strange. It's not strange. And they felt like invasion of privacy because they didn't seem to be a reason for the search. Well, he didn't know what the reason for the search was. And I'm going to go over the reasons for the search anyway. I'm going to go on the whiteboard here and put down the reasons for the search. But if you feel like it's an invasion of privacy, I mean, you're entering a foreign country, right? So the foreign country, if you're not a citizen of that country, you're entering at the discretion of the admitting officer, be it Mexico, be it USA, be it United Kingdom, be it Thailand, wherever. So when you go through border control, you essentially have no privacy anyway. So if it's invasion of privacy, I mean, all I can say is that's any country in the world. If you don't want your privacy interrupted, then you guys don't travel to any country. Don't go anywhere because any border can do the checking. It doesn't matter if you're a U.S. citizen or not. Borders can check. So I don't have a record. I have Nexus. There wasn't anything to provoke that incident for myself. That incident for myself to stop the car behind me. Very strange. Well, it's not a strange thing because again, it's departure control. And I'm sorry, guys, but CBP does not have a magic wand they can wave to see who in the line needs to be stopped or see who in the line has contraband, weapons, an illegal alien smuggling, or whatever. Because you guys don't know what's in these vehicles. And the same with these CBP officers, they don't know till they check. So you guys really shouldn't take it personal. It's not meant to be personal, but they have a job to do. So he said, I'm not going to the States unless there's something urgent or important I have to go down there for. Okay. Well, I mean, that's his choice. It's his, preference, but doesn't apply to everyone. Some people have children that they need to take to the US for, could be medical treatment, could be going shopping, dinner, could be going to Disneyland, whatever the reason. So it doesn't all revolve around the individual, is my point. It revolves around the group. It's all good for the group. Um, Now what I want to show you guys on the board here, I don't know, I'm not even going to really play this because I may put the link in here, whatever. And these legal professionals in this field, they don't seem to know what departure control is. So I don't mind providing the education. I've done it for at least 10, 15 years or more. So I'll keep doing it here. So let's just change the screen. Okay. All right. Now, we give some education here to the individuals. Please, um, legal professionals who don't seem to understand departure control. And let me find something here. Okay, here we go. Okay, departure control. In other words, it's also the outbound inspections. So, I mean, I'm right-handed, guys, so you might see me walk back and forth. So, okay. I'm going to put a list here of some of the items that's searching for in departure control. It's more so like, it's like export control. Okay, so we got you guys who cannot see that, it says, I abbreviated, but that's departure control. So they're going to look for things like firearms. Now with the firearms, they actually found some it was 12 gauge shotgun shells and 9mm ammunition. For this last departure control checkpoint, it's been in the news. We're going to post that video a bit later. But they found ammunition. Now, some of you guys don't care. I mean, some of you guys have like a license for a firearm, that's fine. But some people here, especially here in Surrey, they don't have a license for a firearm, but they do have firearms. And they got everything from 32 caliber 32 pistols to AKs. Of course, they're illegal, but they still have them. So that's one of the things subject to export control is firearms and ammunition. And again, these lawyers who don't understand this simple stuff, which is under section CFR 162.6, I mean, it's simple. Like if we turn the tap and water comes out, water comes out. That's why you turn the tap. That's how simple it is. So if you're in this profession, legal profession, and you practice U.S. immigration law, and you don't know something as simple as departure control as to why it's there, and you're confused by it, again, I will provide the education. And next thing we got here, we got technology and software. So I'm just going to say tech and software. Now with the tech and software, that's things like maybe Microsoft packages or whatever. I'm not a software expert, so I need a software engineer for this portion. But software is subject to U.S. export controls. So if you got some illegal software in your vehicle that you picked up however, whenever, how, but you happen to have it and they can prove it, that's a violation right there. And you already know about the firearms and the ammunition. Cultural and natural resources. Okay, yeah, so cultural and natural resources. So things like antiques, art, um, artifacts, whatever. I mean, I'm good at writing, so I need someone who works in a museum. They could probably answer it a lot better. But if you got, let's say, some stolen items from a museum, that could fall under this, as well as that being criminal because they're stolen. You're in possession of stolen property. So again, this is under departure control, a lot of the things they're looking for. This is a good one. Biological materials. Now that's a potential nasty one because in the U.S. military, I think now maybe they call it CBR, but in the old days it was called NBC, nuclear, biological, and chemical. They were talking about different types of warfare in the U.S. Army and Air Force, and they had NBC training, and there's something called designation called MOP level, MOPP, like MOP level 1, 2, 3, and 4. And MOP level 1, 2, 3, and 4, that's your protective gear that you would wear in case there's a nuclear, biological, or chemical attack. And that stuff, guys, that stuff is nasty. because you guys are well aware, I also used to work at the Defense Department. So we had training and knowledge about that stuff. And that stuff's nothing to play with. Because I was, when I say Defense Department, I mean Pentagon. I was there for maybe a year and a half as well. So that's before I got into the law enforcement aspect. So, and I still, well, I won't say that. I was gonna say something else. But biological material, that stuff you really got to be careful of because the fact that they got all kind of like different like nerve agents, chemical agents, or biological agents. Um, Smallpox is a big one. Apparently or supposedly, there's only two locations in the world that has the smallpox like spores, like for experimentation or vaccine production. One's in the USA. I think it's at the CDC in Georgia, I believe, or it's either there or it's at Fort Detrick, Maryland, and the other one's in Russia. And you guys don't want to mess with smallpox. That's some nasty stuff. Now, because my dad was a physician, a doctor, so me growing up, we learned all about biology, microbiology, chemistry, etc. And I actually initially started out at university. I was going to become a microbiologist, but I never completed it. Never went forward with it. But this stuff right here, especially, has to be watched. This is how you make biological agents, and especially the one agent which I won't see on YouTube. You guys always know, and Trump refers to it, and the country it came from, and it came out big in 2020. You guys already know what it is. That's a biological agent. So I'm not saying someone in departure control would have that, but you guys don't know what's in someone's car departure control. It could be anything. And we hope it's not this one. This one could really, really cause a lot of havoc, as you guys are well aware, 2020. Okay, strategic items. Uh, I'm guessing that's like the strategic metals, or like defense related DoD related stuff. I'm not really sure what strategic items there would be, but would have to be DoD related. But basically items that would require an export license. So, oh, here we go. Here's a good one. Currency and monetary instruments. This is a big one. Currency and monetary instruments. Some of these Surrey boys here, they walk around with man bags or backpacks, or mostly man bags, stuffed full of hundreds. And I know for a fact that I see it all the time. But they have man bags stuffed full of hundreds and backpacks. Now, maybe they got it from an inheritance, who knows what. But that's what they have. And they've came in here for that waivers, and they've had man bags stuffed full of hundreds. And I guess, an inheritance or savings, whatever, whatever. Not my issue. But departure control also looks for currency. And some of these Surrey boys, coming back into Canada, and you're carrying like 40, 50K cash, and you didn't declare it, you guys are the ones, if you get caught, you guys are the ones that's going to get in trouble for this currency, undeclared currency. And there's a lot of you Surrey boys that have this. Surrey and East Van boys, and some Abbey, but definitely Surrey and East Van. This is a bigger thing for them. And the last one, okay, this is a good one. This also ties into Surrey boys as well. This one says defense articles. So defense articles like aircraft parts, maybe that's not Surrey boys. Military equipment, NVGs, night vision goggles, M4 rifles, hand grenades, Claymore mines. I don't know if you guys know what a Claymore mine is, but it's about that size. It's got it's got four prongs on it, and it's curved outward. I can't draw a curve on the paper. Just it's curved outward where the inner curve is facing you, and the outer part says front towards enemy. And with claymores, they can be set up to be detonated many ways. You can detonate it with a detonator, a hand detonator, or there's or like a tripwire with claymores. The hand grenades, the thumb clip on it. So pull the thumb clip, twist, pull the pin. You have it in your hand like this, ready to throw. Then you aim. And then you your entire body and throw. So, but the point is, stuff like claymores, use grenades, night vision goggles, NVGs, body armor. Uh, some of these survey boys for head body armor. Of course, it's illegal here. So, but they bought it in the US. And that's what I can base, that's some of the basic things I can just think of. But it also says, I mean, aircraft parts, military vehicles. Suppose if you're driving like a stolen Humvee, the U.S. Army. But anyway, the bottom line is that military stuff is subject to export control. So I would say out here in Surrey, these things, the defense stuff and the currency, is probably two bigger ones. They're not gonna really have biological stuff for the most part. They're probably not gonna have cultural stuff. But the point is, departure control covers these items and more. It also covers if they find like illegal drugs, like white powder, green stuff. Although no, I don't know why you would have that, but green stuff, drug paraphernalia, or maybe the person in the car has a passenger who's an illegal alien. They're trying to be smuggled into Canada, or the person's wanted in the U.S. Was a U.S. citizen or Canadian or whoever. If the person's wanted in the U.S., that's another thing. So, but I can tell you as a law enforcement officer, what you do is you come up to the vehicle, and within seconds, you can pretty much size up the person. I still do it to this day. I can size up a person within seconds. There's something that's a skill that you pick up that never leaves you. And some people have it naturally. I've had it naturally since I was 5 years old. But in law enforcement, that's what you do. You size up the person, you decide where you want to search, how you want to search. And guys, I have to admit, there's some kind of there are some profiling they do, but it is what it is. So anyway, that covers departure control. That's why it's done. It's done to find these materials and more, and the other stuff that I just mentioned. So for the media to not know what's going on, or why they have departure control or the outbound checks, just explained it all right there. I mean, again, for us being former federal officers, former law enforcement officers who were previously posted in Washington State, this stuff's like a no-brainer. Now, some of you lawyers, whatever, who have never been federal officers or whatever, or law enforcement officers, you probably wouldn't know this. You may not even know the statute it's under, even though it's simple. It's U.S. immigration law, and that's why we get you guys cleared effectively and quickly. Because when you deal with someone who has the background as myself and others, this stuff is a no-brainer. So for these other individuals, these lawyers or whoever, who don't understand the statutes or the codes, I don't know how you're practicing law if you don't know the simple statutes or codes, but whatever. And you don't know what departure control is. That's what departure control is. In other words, outbound inspections. That's why it's done, to find this material. Not rocket science. You turn on the tap for what? For water. Water comes out. You don't be surprised. Oh, it's water coming out. Yeah, you turn the tap on. Same concept. Anyway, Ken Scott, Senior, U.S. Immigration Law Intelligence Analyst with www.usentryWaiverServices.com. That's 888-908-3841 or 604-562-8140. Remember, guys, we also quite often we show the regulations, put on a lot of this stuff at DHS. I have a lot of that stuff, and I can always get current stuff. These other places don't have this stuff. These lawyers don't have any of this stuff. They only basically have whatever we choose to show on the screen. And that's why we are the most effective in getting this stuff sorted out proper. So we're not going to bring chaos to you guys. We're going to, like in Star Trek Borg, we're going to bring order to chaos. because we don't want you guys living in chaos. We want to make sure you guys get the facts, nothing but the facts, and then based upon the facts, you guys can live your life however you see fit. Take your family out, enjoy yourself, travel, whatever. We're not going to follow this narrative causing chaos. It's not happening. And I went through that. I went through a small portion of that. Quick story before I shut this thing off. One time I was at the Vancouver Board of Trade. I was on the committee. And this committee was about U.S. border crossing. This was some time ago. U.S. border crossing, back then. So it was 5 of us. And I was probably the youngest one in there. And I was also the only one in there of my, I'll say background ethnicity. So what happened was these 4 other gentlemen in there, they were discussing like border crossing stuff regarding, it's mostly like trade related. And I'm just watching this. And there were, one guy had a suggestion to fix the problem this way. Another one has said, well, I don't know. It's like, it seemed like there was so much disorder there. So I'm listening, so okay. And I said, well, why don't we just, after about maybe 10 minutes, I'm watching 10, 15 minutes, I said to myself, or said to them, why don't we just do it this way? And that way solves everything. They stopped and looked at me like I was from Mars. They're like, oh, I'm like, yeah. So if we do it this way, I had this procedure right here, and I put together a procedure. It's really simple. It's like maybe like 4 or 5 small steps. Because I was writing it down and they were talking. He said, here, this fixes the problem. They didn't know what to say. It solved the problem. But that told me right then that it seems like here, they like to thrive off of chaos. They like keep things going chaotic. They don't want to like solve problems or solve issues, which is the strangest thing to me. Another quick story before I leave is when we had our Toronto location. We have the Brampton one now, but when we had our Toronto location, I was out there and I noticed that the bus drivers have like protective plastic shielding around them. So when I got back here, I got a hold of TransLink because back then, this was maybe 2016, but back then there was an issue here with the bus drivers, like their safety. So what I said was I called the union on this and I said, hey, in Toronto, I told them why I was calling. It's okay. I said they have special shielding for the drivers. I said, so what if you were to implement that same shielding for here that would protect the drivers and the issue would be pretty much resolved? The phone was silent. The person didn't know what to say. He said, okay, thank you. And hung up. I'm like, but I just solved the problem. And then in the news for a few more years after that, there was always this issue about driver safety. I'm thinking, I already called you guys and told you guys a way you can fix the problem. Now they have the plastic shielding. But it just seems like here in British Columbia, a lot of these places, these agencies, whatever, they don't really want to fix stuff, even like the medical system. I'm kind of going off on a tangent a bit here, but they don't want to fix stuff. They want to keep the chaos going for whatever the reason. Well, guys, it's the same thing with this border stuff. A lot of these officials, or maybe even media, they don't want to address ways to like solve this stuff or fix it. Whereas, I mean, I'm a fix it kind of guy. I'm a solutions-based guy. So I guess it is what it is. Anyway, Ken Scott, Senior, U.S. Immigration Law Intelligence Analyst, and I'm out here. And have a great day and get ready for the next video. And I'm out.